real estate agent? Are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in this world. Good evening. My name is Dave Finale. I am Real Estate Skill Builder, but this is Real Estate Talk, TGIF, episode 162. There's 162 episodes in 159 weeks. If you calculate that with 52 weeks a year, that's over 3 years we've been doing this every week. We have not missed a week, and it's something we're going to continue to do and be consistent. If I can give an example of consistency, this would have to be it to start. But it's something we all need to do in our real estate business. And what I try to do is bring forth some great human beings to be on here. And if they're not great human beings, they're great in the business. So whatever it is. And I think today I've got a great human being and a great entrepreneur, a great innovator in Mr. Jake Wolfe of Clever Leads. Jake, welcome. Thanks for coming to the broadcast.
Thank you so very much, Dave. I've heard a lot about you and the consistency that you deliver from some of the other folks in the industry. So thank you for having me.
That's nice to hear, man. So Jake Wolfe, Clever Leads, the whole thing. But the first question before we get into you and your story, do you know what TGIF stands for?
Yes, it's my favorite F word, actually, Friday, and then comes food. Dave.
Yes, true. But you're so close, but yet so far, my friend. Thank God it's Finale, Dave Finale. So I hope that could be your third F word. Friday, food, finale. For me, it's basically food. You know, what can I tell you? Yeah. So welcome to TGIF. Jake, you've been around in this business for a while. You've got a very wonderful past, a great past that I admire. Tell us about your past. Tell us about where you came from to get to the great innovator of marketing for real estate.
Yeah. So, Dave, I'm a combat veteran. I served during 9/11, and I think I lost my head there, Dave, for a second. Anyways, after I went in and got out of the service, a good friend of mine was running a marketing company, and he said, "Hey, Sarge, come on over here." And I said, "I don't know anything about marketing." He said, "You'll figure it out." So I went ahead and deep dived into the industry many years ago, Dave, well before social media even was social media. So back then in the good old days, we had businesses that were coming into the marketing agency and saying, "Hey, I heard the internet was getting popular and I need one of those things called a website." So evolution over the last 15 to 20 years has been pretty amazing for us in the marketing world. And I now kind of joke around always, and I say I feel a little bit like the Dr. Phil of marketing, because every single person that ever came through the agency ultimately has a problem. So, Mr. Wolfe, my competition's kicking my butt. We've got this big event going on. We've got these products we need to go ahead and get out, things like that. So same kind of scenario happened, Dave. I would say about 2.5 years ago with some real estate agents. And the story that I went ahead and heard was pretty amazing. So we sat down in the boardroom and they told me all about the industry and everything else that was going on. And I just seen there was a lot of different pieces that people were trying to glue together ultimately to go ahead and get to what they considered success. So for us as advanced marketers, I've been doing this in many different industries for many years, Dave. So there's things that we typically think about that's quite different than most other folks. So we were always thinking about acquisition, conversion, retention, the whole online flow of events. And you can never really shortchange that customer journey online. So the same kind of key principles that we're bringing now to the real estate industry are those that are being used by the largest of companies, all of the tactics and different tools, but ultimately the consistency, the systems, the process from front to back. So we're here in the real estate industry now with Clever Leads. We built a multi-million-dollar tool as a back-end CRM, but it's a marketing and communication platform that's got a lot of cool bells and whistles to go ahead and help kind of have you guys bring back your time ultimately. So you're not having to try to glue back all of these pieces for your business. But that's how we got kind of into the real estate space. If you were to if I was to jump in a time machine and go back 3 years and talk to Mr. Wolfe 3 years younger, it wasn't even on the radar, Dave. So until we went ahead and seen that the industry needed some assistance.
So tell me, how long has Clever Leads been around?
Clever Leads is a component of our core company, right? So it is the software and real estate component of what we've built. So right about 2.5 years, we've been developing Clever Leads behind the scenes and working with strategic agents and things like that. So this year is a big year for Clever Leads to go ahead and kind of branch out across the United States and start helping different agents in many different territories in all of the states. So
the reason I asked that question is because it's in years it's young, but in technology years it's not really that young because things advance so quickly. What I've seen, I believe in complete and total differentiation and always looking for that next thing. And am I a squirrel hunter? Not in that respect, really, but basically I'm looking for the next thing that's going to help me, help my agents, help the people I work with on a regular basis. And I've always been that way. I've always had the best technology. And I think when I had my brokerage, I kind of scared agents because they didn't want to learn the technology. But now it's over the past, we're in July of 2021. Over the past year and a half, there's been some advances in technology in the intelligence of the real estate agent. So that being said, we started talking before we came on the air about online success and doing online success properly. So as an overview, let's talk about what online success should look like and what's some steps to actually get to that success.
Well, that's a great question. So let's kind of talk about it. So from my standpoint, in any business, you need to be thinking about three things, right? And this is what an advanced marketer would think about. What are the things that I'm going to do to go ahead and acquire a customer, acquire attention, get those people focused on me? And then what are the things that I do to put in place to get those folks closer to a conversion? Once I have them in a converted state, whether that means an online form submission, Dave, whether it means becoming a customer. Now, even after that, what are the things that I do for my business to go ahead and retain those folks with my brand? So that is a very high level kind of thought process. But in the middle of all of those pieces, it's the necessity of putting out consumable content that these people can consume. It's educational, getting folks closer to what you would consider a compelling offer to get those folks to actually convert. And then once they've converted, just keeping them retained with your brand so you're top of mind. So then this is the problem in the real estate industry. If you were a business owner in a different industry, you would sit down and you would say to yourself, what is my unique selling proposition? What are the services or products that I actually offer? Who are my consumers? Where are they at? What is my competition? And how do my services or products differentiate with my competitor? In the real estate side of the house, you have millions of folks that go through, spend thousands of dollars to get their real estate license, and they have to hang that license with a broker. And then the leadership is only as good as the leadership at that local level. Now, all of a sudden, they have to go ahead and be an advanced marketer, an advertiser. And then comes the journey of events of how do I do this? And this is where I'm gluing all of the pieces together. So with the acquisition, conversion, and retention mindset, what we've ultimately done, Dave, is we locked the boardroom. I brought in the employees, all the developers, and we sat down and said, okay, we're a real estate team now. What would we do running a real estate business? So it's about creating the consumable content, then getting it out there with aggressive and advanced advertising like OTT, commercials, geo-fencing, driving people back to advanced tracking websites, funneling people through landing pages into the back-end Clever Lead system. So there's a whole process of events that happens. Most real estate agents don't have time or they don't know how to do it. And as with anything in life, you can get there, but it's going to take a lot of years of bloody knuckles, Dave, to go ahead and understand it, trial and error, and things like that. So we're jumping in with a whole lifetime of experience and kind of putting these pieces together so you guys can do your core competency.
Okay, one thing before the next topic or question is OTT.
Yeah.
What is that?
OTT stands for over the top television. So this is in the advertising realm, right? So we have, and it's part of location-based display advertising and geofencing. Now, we thought next year was going to be the year of OTT advertising,
Right.
So, but COVID happened, and then everybody was told to go home, quarantine, until we figured out what was going on. Then the government went ahead and started sending some stimulus checks to people to help with some financial reprieve. So before the pandemic, Dave, we saw 20% of American households had smart televisions inside of their homes.
Yep.
Okay. Post-pandemic now, we're seeing over 70% of American households have some type of smart television. So why is this important for our ability to advertise? If you have a smart TV and you bring it home and you plug it in, it says, thank you for purchasing me. Now hook me up to the internet. Once you go ahead and hook up to the internet, now it prompts you to go ahead and download your favorite channels. So people are saying, oh, I'm going to download Nat Geo, Discovery, HGTV, all these cool things. But that's streaming that channel in an application form, Dave. So what that does is it allows for us to go ahead and serve 15 and 30-second commercials on those smart televisions while those people are actually watching it, demand side purchasing of advertising. So it's the new age of being able to strategically place your commercial and brand in front of different folks. So
the interesting part of the question and the answer that we just did was I was going to ask you, okay, so you've talked about marketing, you talked about online marketing, you talked about this, but what makes you so different? You just answered that question, right? OTT, over the top television. So basically what you're saying is, like, years ago, since I've been in the business a couple of days, we used to have to sign a contract with, whatever cable TV company was in our area, and we were going to get on TV, get on the local broadcast, get on an NBA game, ESPN, whatever it is, and that would be tens of thousands of dollars in a contract, as well as the development of your quote unquote your commercial. So what you're telling me now is that I can do a 15-second, 30-second commercial on these internet-based application TV programs or TV shows or applications that come on your television that have entertainment.
That's correct.
I'll put it a different way. Right?
That's great. So it gets even better than that, Dave. It gets even better than that. So as technology has evolved over the years, we've been staying on the cutting edge of things. So this all comes back to what people know as geofencing, which is still kind of an unknown for most folks. It started out as called location-based display advertising. And ultimately, it was built by some of the largest big box stores and companies out there. So ultimately, once these smart devices ended up getting smart, Dave, and they became a tracking device, okay?
Yep.
Big stores wanted to know who were the patrons of their company. So if you and I, let's say, for example, let's say you and I jumped on a plane and we headed to Las Vegas and we headed over to Caesars. And we walked in and then we walked out. Now, all of a sudden, we start seeing advertisements of Caesars saying, hey, Jake, Dave, come on back for a buy one, get one free steak and lobster dinner, because they want you and I to drink old fashions and pull slots. They wanted to repatriate their business with reoccurring customers. So then it kind of evolved to step two, where businesses that were competing with each other could ultimately draw a geofence around a competing business, and any device that walks into that actual location, now we can go ahead and start serving advertisements to those folks. Perfect example, years ago, when this first started, we went ahead and geofenced one of Buffalo Wild Wings restaurant in a metropolitan area for a guy that went ahead and owned his own custom restaurant. So we geofenced Buffalo Wild Wings for 2 weeks. Everybody that walked into it, now we started serving ads to come over for a buy one, get one free wing night on Fridays at his place. We were able to attribute because we knew the devices that we were serving ads to, and if they walked into our home base geofence. So that was step two. Then as it started to get even more evolved, small businesses in metropolitan areas said, hey, I own this hardware store. I am the chiropractor. I am this business. And my most prospective customers are all the people that live in these pretty little houses around me because I'm close by. So they needed a way to go ahead and addressably identify devices underneath the roofs of the homes in order to serve ads to. So what they did was they took the address and matched it against a parcel map because it had a specific longitude and latitude. So devices that most often hang out in those areas, now we can go ahead and identify the device and serve advertisements to them, demand side. Now that televisions are getting smart, they come from the manufacturing facility with an ad ID and a device ID as well. So if they're on and connected, now we can go ahead and identify the smart television. So let's say you and I were farming a neighborhood of 1,000 homes. We could go ahead and understand the devices that are open to us, our audience, inside that specific area. And then we can go ahead and cater our messages strategically to them and start putting ads strategically on target. But this is where it gets really interesting. The old school advertising days, Dave, right? So if you purchased an ad on a cable network, it was based upon the cost for viewership during that time frame. Same thing with radio. So it might cost me extra money to serve during high noon to 1 o'clock because people are out for their lunch break or coming home on their evening commute, right? And then you're praying to God that somebody's listening to 96.5 FM. And, you know, so instead of...
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But what we do is demand side, meaning every single house... The average time frame in the United States of America that a television is on in a home is 4 to 6 hours every single day. If you're viewing on a smart device and in app, now all of a sudden, when you are actually viewing, we know you're viewing. And if you're a targeted identifier inside of our audience, that's when we purchase because we can place it right in front of you. And the other nice thing is they can't fast forward it either. So it really gives now real estate agents a wonderful opportunity to get creative, put together a 15, 30-second commercial and start putting it out. So the cost is cheap now, Dave. It really is in comparison to where I know it's going to be. We are serving $50 CPM. So if anybody understands what the actual cost of advertising is, that means $1,000 bill running for your business puts out about 20,000 commercials a month, which is demand side and on target and only placed when somebody's viewing.
Wait a minute. $1,000 will get you 20,000 commercials depending on placement.
That's correct.
I think it used to be 20,000 used to get you 5.
Understood. So the old fat cats now, Dave, with smoking the cigars that are all pissed off because of this new technology that's emerging, they're going to come over at some point and they're going to start really getting aggressive. But it gives us an opportunity on a micro level to start targeting different folks. So if you're looking at your postcard type revenue placement for the month or allocation, I would say this is a really good way to go ahead and send direct mail. In addition, add some video value to your audience about who you are.
So let's talk about an overall process. So
sure.
What does an overall process of a marketing campaign using geofencing and OTT look like? What is that process? What's first? Where does it go? What's a ballpark cost of what it could cost somebody? Or is that even possible to figure out now?
It is. It's possible to go ahead and figure out. And as with anything, the more money that you put into it, it's just like gasoline in your tank, the further you're going to get. So as I'm doing custom marketing initiatives for different agents, let's say that right now their business is constrained from a marketing standpoint. We start small, and the whole intention is self-liquidating marketing, right? So add more to the fuel, the fire as you go forward so that we can go ahead and grow and expand. And that's just business in and of itself. But I think the best way to kind of understand all of these different things that we're talking about is there's one thing in the middle that is so important, and everybody has seen this. Have you ever been on a website, let's say at the sportshop.com, and you are looking for tennis rackets and tennis balls, just shopping around?
Sure.
And then you come back to Facebook, and all of a sudden you start seeing advertisements of that guy's store and then other businesses that are competing with tennis balls, tennis vacations. Okay. So this is what was considered the tracking pixel for Facebook. Okay. So there are tracking scripts out there and ways to go ahead and ultimately, once somebody touches our digital footprints, start recommunicating our offers to these folks. It's been the remarketing and retargeting has been one of the most missed marketing pillars in the U.S. industry for a very long time. It has to be done right in order to achieve online success. So let's say you're creating content and let's say we do an email blast, Dave, out to 3,000 people, and we have an embedded link. We're driving them back to a landing page. Now, once those people touch the landing page, that's acquisition for us in the marketing world. They don't have to even put their contact information in. I want them to touch my digital footprints because I know if I have a good remarketing, retargeting game with paid advertising, now I know that these people need to see me 10, 20 times before I can really get them back to a true conversion, right? Most people are trying to check out who are these people? What is their business? Are they relevant? Is their product worthy enough? Are their services worthwhile? So what we do for real estate agents now is ultimately bring you guys over and dress you for the party. So if somebody comes over, we literally set you up with an advanced tracking website. Every single one of my websites that I build for the real estate agents are loaded with about 7 different tracking scripts, utilizing Geo-Fencing technology, OTT technology, and things like that. Then we take a Clever Leads communication platform and we stuff it behind your advanced tracking website. So now you guys have the creativity to go and add vlogs, blogs, written content, things like that, plus the back-end power of Clever Leads so that you can manage all of your customers and do all of the cool things that the actual software does for you, which is next level type marketing. We do auto dialing voicemail drops. We have landing page builders in there, email blasts, SMS, drip messages, all of it, Dave. So you have a whole back-end system. We also created an artificial intelligence importer. So we know that agents use data from a lot of different places.
Right.
So if you're getting a list from title, if you're at RedX, likely artificial intelligence, many different places, we can stuff them all in there. Plus we purchased the national real estate database as well. So all of our Clever agents ultimately get thousands of confirmed homeowners that have a cell phone number now and do not call list. So what we do, Dave, there's a lot to go ahead and consume here. However, it is the whole process of what I consider online success, and it's synonymous not just in real estate, it's also synonymous for other industries.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned artificial intelligence, and that's AI. It's a little bit of a buzzword over the last few years, and predictive analytics as well, right? So talk to me about what your system and how it employs predictive analytics along with AI. What is going on with the system? How is it predicting anything? What really is predictive analytics? Because people, there's systems out there, and one is called Offers, one is called SmartZip. There's a few of the other ones out there. I've used SmartZip. Honestly, full transparency, it didn't work for me. Okay. So is there such a thing that can be predictive to say these 5 people out of the 100 in this neighborhood will be selling their home next year? Does that work?
It does. So we use artificial intelligence just to go ahead and help the actual software import leads. Okay, so that we aren't providing artificial intelligence to understand the marketplace. We have a partner in the industry that does that. So we are actually the first commercial integration with Likely Artificial Intelligence's database. So Brad McDaniel from Likely AI, the CEO of over there, and I are good friends. While we were building up Clever Leads, I went ahead and saw Brad give a presentation at Gary Keller's Future RE conference, and he won it as the most innovative artificial intelligence. So let's talk about AI, right? Artificial intelligence and predictive analytics in the real estate industry. I like to think about that movie, Back to the Future, where Michael Fox says, "Holy shit, the Cubbies are going to win the World Series." Okay. If I know personally that people are more likely to go ahead and sell their homes than somebody else, as a marketer, I can go ahead and focus my money, time, and attention towards those people who are more likely. So in addition, if I know about them before my competitor does, that gives me a leg up. So I've always been interested in predictive analytics and artificial intelligence. And what this is understanding models of how humans actually work. So the more data points and the more models that have been built on, most likely they're able to kind of get an idea of online attribution and various different things. So, but we've been working with likely artificial intelligence before the pandemic, 2019.
Right.
And so all of the likely customers can seamlessly import their data into Clever Leads, and we could start doing all of these marketing outreach programs and advertising to those folks, and then work the data. But it's something that will always evolve, Dave. As us humans change, and artificial intelligence will have to go ahead and continue to evolve, and it always learns, and every day it gets smarter. So I think the technology that we're going to see over the next 5 years will be able to go ahead and take a look at the last 20 and be able to bottle it up into the next 5 years of evolution. So
I mentioned a couple of other products that we're doing using AI with predictive analytics. And so I know there's a lot of people that will watch this broadcast, if not live, but later on, will say that, they've tried one or two or more of the different products that I mentioned. And that I have not found anyone that says it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then it got me all these listings, everything else. What will the system utilized by Clever Leads do? Will they do anything differently, or is it because of the whole package put together that Clever Leads does?
Yeah. So what I've seen in the real estate, there's a whole bunch of starting and stopping and starting and stopping.
Oh yeah.
Side of the house. Okay. What I feel that most people need to do is really buckle up, sit down, realize that you're a businessman or businesswoman, and start working a long game. Okay. All of the things that we went ahead and talked about are technologies that can go ahead and bring back your time and put your process together properly online. I wouldn't be fooled for a lot of this quick and dirty products, cheap products, things like that. It's running a business is work, and you're going to have to put in the time, stay consistent, build that consumable content, deliver it with advertising, deliver it with remarketing and retargeting, have a website that is very open-ended, fast, especially now with a lot of the big changes that are happening with Google, back-end systems to where you can import thousands of leads. These are all of the tools that are absolutely cornerstones for your business, but put together, Dave, so that all of the folks in the real estate industry don't have to glue things together anymore.
Yeah. So if I heard you right, you're saying don't expect overnight success. Play the long game, which you did say, and things take time. Would that be
always? So the real estate agent who is very brand forward, who is creating consumable content that's educational and valued, that's in touch with their local community, that stays consistent, that puts out to the world everything and expects nothing back in return, will end up winning. So at the end of the day, people will understand that hard work and dedication. There are people out there right now, Dave, that have intent that are wanting to sell. Okay. There are short-term opportunities to go ahead and use communication and advertising to get in front of those folks before your competition does. Absolutely. I see it every single day. Sometimes even on training with new real estate agents, I see 2 or 3 listing opportunities that pop up just while we're communicating to 100 folks utilizing some RedX data. So they're short-term, but you also have to think about the long-term. We are humans. We have no damn idea if somebody's going to sell their home in the next 8 months or 8 years. There's been times where I sold my home, and over dinner last night with Mrs. Wolfe, a bottle of wine and a steak, hey, let's sell. It actually just recently happened. So people, if they don't know who you are, and if you are not putting out good quality content that's consumable and educational in nature, what's going to happen? They're going to say, okay, we need a real estate agent. So they're going to go to Google, they're going to type in realtor, and most of the time they're going to pick somebody based upon their image, okay, that they associate themselves with from a psychological standpoint. They're going to say that person looks nice and hardly ever read below the line. And they're going to connect with that one person. And 90% of the people who are getting ready to sell their home that do that, they don't go through and interview other folks that are realtors as well. So the first person that gets the contact wins. You have to hedge this. You have to absolutely hedge this with outreach, communication, consistency.
Talk to me about this outreach communication. Are we talking about drip campaigns? Are we talking about annoying things? What are we talking about in respect to continually connecting? What are we talking about there? What's that look like, Jake?
So Dave, the whole process in online marketing success is my ability to take you from an offline status and get you into my online network of events that I'm going to have. Okay. So if I'm able to acquire your email, send you a postcard, maybe do some cold advertising to a new community and get you to come over and touch my online space, now I can control re-communication to all of these folks. So what we are actually doing right now with Clever Leads is we are starting to build content for real estate agents. And we're talking about good quality content, custom written stuff, national information, things that kind of get into the local area as well. We're going to try to get as local as possible without being in your locality. But I want 100 different pieces of content, written and video type information that I can put into a actual stepped system of events so that I can keep my brand consistent in front of folks, knowing that maybe in 8 months from now, they've been consuming my content and they come over and give me the phone call. Or if they're coming through an online funnel of sorts, now all of a sudden I collect their information. So I want to acquire every single person inside of a metropolitan area if I'm a real estate agent and get them to touch my digital footprint. And I want to invest advertising dollars so that I can re-communicate anything that I need to communicate to these people, knowing that in the future, I'm doing it more than my competitor and I'm going to win at the end of the day because I'm putting out more value than everybody else. So
along with sending out these communications, these emails, this video, whatever information that we've got, is it one of the things that a lot of people look at is, they've got to tweak stuff, right? Tweaking for things that are out there just doesn't make sense. Tweaking is for people that, always need to get ready, always think they got to do it better. Does your stuff, is it another Frankenstein monster that we're building? Because look, I'm up until recently, I finally learned that tweaking is a mistake and just use what's there. The reason I bring this up in this manner is that for years, whatever CRM you would use, it's got these built-in autoresponders or these built-in emails for the real estate business that all sound the same. Is that the kind of stuff we're using, or we're altering it, as you said, local, but are we altering it to sound more like 2021 rather than 1981?
So the reason that we're getting into the content game over here at Clever Leads is because over the last 2 years of watching and observing the real estate agents, most people don't create content.
Right.
They just don't. So without that content creation, what are you going to communicate to people? Or if you're advertising and driving traffic back to, let's say, your website, and all of a sudden there's just a picture of you and says, "Hi, I'm Realtor," there's no consumable content for people to consume. So it's so important, content is. And we're getting into the content creation game because it's so vitally necessary to have in online marketing success. Now, real estate agents can go ahead and come into Clever Leads. You can build out all of your own custom stuff. We've got a very nice custom email builder. You can drag, drop pictures and do a whole bunch of cool stuff. So you can create your own that you want and put it into the system. But we're getting into the game because there has to be a better start for real estate agents. And I would say 95% of the agents across the United States of America don't create content. If they do create 1, 2, or 3 pieces, that's it. And it falls off. Nobody's consistent. So we're getting into the consistency of leveraging our employees and our know-how to go ahead and help that, to get people to go ahead and then fill the gaps with some local quality information in addition to the high level stuff. So
Jake, is the content that you're putting out when you're recommunicating and you're attempting to convert, is it set it and forget it type stuff, or does it require attention?
All things in business acquire attention. We are trying to minimize the amount of attention necessary in this online marketing game for real estate agents as much as possible. But there's going to have to be attention that's necessary. But we're trying to buy back time for everybody so you guys can do your core competency.
Exactly. And one of the things we look at, one of the things that I look at when it comes to, client acquisition as well as client retention is that, are you being relevant to what you're sending out? And that's another reason why I talk about content. And you said it, the big word is consistency of what you're doing. And you have to know what's going out. And people say, well, I don't want to bother with that. I just want to set it and forget it. Great. So you're going to be a mediocre agent for the rest of your life. You're never going to scale, right? You have to be able to have attention to it. In these days of our digital world now, I mean, it's easy to get someone halfway across the world to put your stuff together and to help you do it, at rates that are reasonable, right? So I look at it. I have a system that I teach and coach on about conversion of someone that connects with you after an ad, and I look at it 2 different ways. And tell me how you guys do this. One is, this is, for lack of a better word, this Z word, Zillow. Someone gets a Zillow lead. Well, that's almost someone that wants to buy now. And then the Facebook lead is going to be someone that is not ready, and you need a little micro commitment work there. Does Clever Leads build upon the type of lead that's coming in, or is it the same for everything with great content?
Yeah. So Facebook has had an interesting history ever since its first start to where it's at right now. And we all know that advertising has gotten more difficult. When Mark had to visit with the House and Senate Judiciary Committee with the whole Cambridge Analytica stuff, and now Ben Carson's came in with HUD, and now there's the special housing category. So our targeting options have dramatically diminished. Apple's making some big changes in the industry that are going to definitely affect Facebook's ability to retarget, remarket different people on that platform. So it's even going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, if you're doing anything with Facebook, keep doing it. I would say throttle down, but it's going to get tighter and tougher. As far as Zillow's got a gate. They have the ability to, so if somebody's actually shopping for homes on Zillow, it says save your searches, create a login. All right. So once they keep you logged in as well, because they understand your device. So it knows if you're coming back to shop, and that's kind of its own online channel. And they're going to continue to sell leads until real estate agents stop buying them. Okay. So what I'm doing here is taking a look at your town. All right. I ultimately want to communicate to every single confirmed homeowner in your area who you are, your consumable content, your brand. So it's on a locality level. So we utilize Geo-Fencing and OTT advertising, postcarding, and we pull data down so that we can start the journey of a relationship with these people, because I want them to know who I am. From a seller side standpoint, it works very well. Businesses communicate to people addressably because they know they're the confirmed homeowners at that location, things like that. So ultimately, it's relationship, local, getting out there. Buyers leads have always been easier to go ahead and acquire. Okay, yep. So we highly suggest people go ahead and utilize YouTube. We help out with a lot of the video editing, the thumbnail building, because we use the exact same tools in an advertising component. So, yeah, but it's different, right? So this is the stuff that you guys have been used to for a long time. I look at those areas like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as areas to go ahead and go out, socially engage with people, like long line fishing. Ultimately, I want to acquire them out there and bring them back to touch my digital footprint so that now I can go ahead and start working them in a local area and control all of my information that goes out to these folks. So everybody's super close, right? If you're taking action and producing content, you're close. If you're using some of these things, you're close. But you have to change. There's a little bit of a change on the direction of your highway that us advanced marketers do compared to most other folks, and we're here to help.
Yeah, I want to hit two things. One is content, right? Mm-hmm. The question I asked, which you really hit a great point on, about the communication, about the response type that we're doing. And correct me if I'm wrong in anything I'm saying, because I'm just trying to synopsize so people understand that it can be one size fits all nowadays, simply because you're adding the OTT, you're adding different video communication, because you're going to be more omnipresent than you ever were before, right? Because that's building up, giving you have the ability to do that. Does that make sense? Is that kind of like synopsizing what we're talking about here?
To best synopsize Clever Leads and what my business partner and I have built over the last 2 years to go ahead and then provide to the agents, I'm truly your communication bridge to the people. So it always will come back to, what in the hell are you saying to these folks? What is your compelling offer? What are you putting together for content? So we've got the whole business tools, a process all ironed out so that you guys can get set up and start getting efficient and start hitting the streets, short-term and long-term. So, so that's the best way to put this.
I get it. I love it. I love it because you're adding. It's not adding. You're augmenting what we already should be doing as an industry. Where a lot of people will take, what's there. They're using what they're now. I'm going to tell those people, go ahead and keep doing that because it actually could work. When we start changing stuff that's already given to us, that's the whole thing. I remember a couple of months ago, I was talking to a guy about actually a great team leader that's doing about $500 million a year, and I asked him about this process he was using. And he said, Dave, I know that the language, I know that the email itself that we're sending back out and the communication sounds really corny, but don't change it because it works for me. It works. Don't change it, right? So that's one point that everybody needs to look at. But a lot of times we don't have to change it. With Clever Leads, we've got an advantage because we actually know what people are doing. We know they're searching. We can get in front of them a lot easier. The other thing I wanted to bring up was you talked about long line fishing.
Yes.
And I think what Clever Leads does, guys, if you don't know the difference, it's long line fishing, and I would rather drop my line over the boat, right? But here's how it works so well for that. The long line fishing is bringing everybody in, and they're basically swimming toward the boat, and you can, after when you do all your work, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but after you do all the work, since they're swimming toward your boat, you can take your line, put it over the boat, and there they are. Does that make sense? Does that sound like that's how it works?
Yes. So what I like to do is bring everybody back so that I can put them in front of your consumable content. So we can talk to anybody. It just will come back to, what are you saying to them? Do they like your offer? Do they like what you're saying? Things like that. So this is business done properly online. These are all of the core components of that process.
So when does all of this, and when do you connect with them on a personal level when they're ready, when they reach out to you, or are you following up on top of the email communication, the television commercial, the video, all this other stuff? Are you following up on top of that, or are you just waiting for them because of all your content to reach out to you?
Both, right? So there's opportunities to go ahead and go direct to consumer, to go ahead and start inquiring on if they'd be open to an offer, if they were planning on making a move in 2021. So we can use core communication, especially if we have predictive data. We want to get there before our consumer. So a lot of times when we're working data sets like that, we don't necessarily want to advertise only. We want our advertising to support us after we go ahead and create the initial relationship,
Right.
to nurture those folks, right? So, but ultimately, it's about casting the widest net over your local community, getting out quality information so that they know who you are. So, a lot of our agents that are working video on YouTube are doing fantastic. We've been helping really kind of guide that strategy as well, as far as what are the right videos to go ahead and produce. We help with video titles. We help with video editing. We do all of the thumbnail stuff. Now, YouTube is a great place to do long line fishing as well.
Yes.
So there are a lot of organic traffic that comes over to YouTube. They're looking for things. So I have an agent who's out of El Paso, Texas, does a fantastic job. Okay. He has anywhere from, I would say, 10 to 15 no bullshit people coming through his website every single week wanting to do business with him. So we've tweaked his whole process and kind of gave it this little personal marketing touch. So let's say people are wanting to inquire about what is El Paso and they're in California. Okay. Somebody from California, YouTube keyword searches El Paso, they get rolled over here onto his channel. They start liking what he does. But this agent intentionally tells those folks to go ahead and click on his website below, come on over, take a look at all of the information that I have to offer. Those people do it. Now they touched the advanced tracking websites. Now on that person's smart television in his house, he starts seeing 15, 30-second commercials of this real estate agent in California about El Paso. So it's about acquisition, long line fishing. It's about adding more and more people to your pool for your retargeting audience and utilizing all of these different tools in the right way, Dave. So
absolutely. So, all right. So, you know that I love the thought process and the idea of geofencing. I'm just like, I love it. Right. So I'd like to just talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
So if I'm a real estate agent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Run me through a scenario of how a middle level typical real estate agent could use a geofencing product with Clever Leads.
Yeah. So we've been doing geofencing from the start. So we've evolved with the whole process with our marketing agencies and now are bringing this into the real estate side. What's nice is we can addressably target homes. Okay. All of the devices that typically hang out underneath those houses. Dave, do you know how when you go to the grocery store tonight to go ahead and pick up a 6-pack of beer and a sirloin steak, you walk into the grocery store and you come out and you go ahead and fire up the ignition on your vehicle. A Bluetooth signal shoots from your phone to your radio, and then all of a sudden it prompts a trigger on your smart device, and it says, "Hey, Dave, you're 5 minutes from home. Traffic is light."
Yep.
Okay. So we know where these things are typically located. So what happened with the pandemic? We told every single smart device to go home, stay at home, turn itself on, and hang out there for 2 to 3 weeks. The accuracy as far as our ability to serve devices underneath these homes are in the high 99 percentiles. So this is so addressably. All right. So we load addresses into the intelligence network. It does a parcel match automatically, utilizing some artificial intelligence as well. And then it builds the audiences. So the smart devices that normally are in that area, inside that parcel, longitude and latitude, are now susceptible to our advertising. So we serve on the major news, major sports, in-app, Weather Channel, Weather Nation, all the rest of that stuff. And we're able to put 5 different variations of a display advertisement there. So let's say you go over to ESPN and I'm targeting your computer. Now, all of a sudden, I demand side purchase, and here comes a really nice side banner on ESPN that says, "Hey, this is Jake Wolfe Realty, and would you like to know about fire safety tips for your home?" Just consumable content, or interviews with this, or home prices are selling at an all-time high, crazy. Or what happens if you had a listing in a neighborhood? Now we take that graphic and this home just went on the market and we start doing just like your circle prospecting with postcards, we can take all of the addresses and go ahead and deliver that and embed the links on these different advertisements. So somebody gets curious, they touch it. Now they come back to your website where here's the video or landing pages or squeeze pages that we build for you. So there's a lot of things that we know to be true about things addressably in the real estate industry, right? So all of these homes are expired, withdrawn. All of these homes are pre-foreclosure, 90-day lates, NODs. All of these homes live inside of this community, right? So there's a lot of things that we know that we can now strategically put advertisements to and cater our messages properly so it resonates with your audience. And this is what Geo-Fencing does. So we're able to get those out there, and use the same technology for OTT advertising. Those smart TVs inside those houses are just as susceptible as the smart devices, tablets, laptops, cell phones, things like that. So it's a really good way to get omnipresent, get your consumable content out to the folks.
So we're running up against our time, and I want to ask you a couple of questions real quickly.
Sure.
If there's an agent out there that really wants to build their business and has tried other things and they really didn't work for them, what do you think they should do as far as Clever Leads is concerned? What products should they use with Clever Leads to jumpstart their business?
Yeah. The whole Clever Leads suite, right? It gives you an opportunity to build yourself an advanced tracking website, have the back end system so that you can do all of your core communication, landing pages and stuff. And then you can scale into advertising properly depending on what is your budget. So each and every single one of you that are watching and listening to this, you're your own business person and you are in your own area and you have your own competitive dynamics. All right. So you have to go ahead and stay consistent. Don't do this whole start and stop, and ultimately go ahead and continue to grow and empower yourself more, put more fuel into the fire. Here's where people, if you have failed in real estate or are struggling, you are not putting out good quality content and you are not getting that message out to the people or enough folks. Okay.
Right. So, absolutely.
That's just bottom line common sense. These are the triggers that I look at when I've been doing custom marketing interventions for many different businesses and different industries. Is what is your unique selling proposition? What is your compelling offer? Do you have good quality content? Are you clearly communicating your message? Have you exposed that to enough people? What is your competition doing? What do you have as far as vehicles to empower you to get that message out? Is your process broken? So Clever Leads is this hybrid next generation model of online success based upon all of our years of industry experience in marketing.
Yeah, and one of the ways I look at Clever Leads is that I define the real estate professional as three things: a real estate agent, a technologist, and a constant creator of relevant content, right? So the real estate agent is basically what they do anyway. They get prospects, they get contracts signed, get listings signed. The technologist, you guys handle for that. You handle most of that for the agent. As far as the constant creator of relevant content, you've got it, and you're supporting that as well and supporting their type of content that they want to put out. So you do a great job in helping that agent pull forward of their business and to be able to do a lot more than they typically could do by themselves or try to innovate it themselves. Right?
Dave, I'll tell you what, some of the biggest players in the industry are watching a lot of this tech disruption happen in the real estate space, right? There's a lot of money in Wall Street driving a lot of the initiatives. Think about HomeLight, Ideal Agent, Zillow, Redfin, Open Door. Look at all of the offers. Everything is about financial savings or some type of convenience. And they're in the homes, ladies and gentlemen, speaking to the people. Think about the Redfin sign that goes up in the front yard. Nobody even knew that home was possibly getting ready to be listed for sale until all of a sudden, oh, there's a Redfin sign in the front yard. So what do we have to do? And Mr. Ferry talks about this all the time. I watch Tom. He does a fantastic job. He's always pushing to go ahead and tell folks to take action. But you have to get into your local marketplace. You have to hedge the evolution of tech, but you have to utilize technology to empower yourself as well. And that's exactly what we've done. There is a process, and that's what we've created. This is the same way that small businesses, local businesses start to communicate properly to their constituents or prospective customers. So
I think Clever Leads is an amazing product. You know that. I mean, I have been once I heard about you and what you do from Greg McDaniel, who's a good friend and also been on this broadcast and helped put us together. It's just an amazing thing. Wherever it's time, how do people get in contact with you, Jake, and how do they get to Clever Leads to get whatever you guys got?
Sure. Yeah. Come on over to cleverleads.com. It's spelled right down here. If you guys are watching this, if you're listening to this somewhere, it's spelled KLEVR, leads.com. Enter your information. One of our employees will go ahead and reach out to you. Actually, starting next week, we're going to be running weekly coaching, marketing, training events for all of the Clever agents. We have a private Facebook group, so we're always on there. Greg McDaniel jumps on Tuesdays for Tactical Tuesdays, and Michelle Berman has joined the Clever Nation, and we're going to be offering her Instagram program because she teaches and does that so very well. So she has a mini course inside, and but we just get super involved, and we're going to be running weekly webinars to go ahead and talk about tips, tactics, and tricks and stuff that advanced marketers would do to go ahead and put out to the industry and stuff that we're doing to help. So.
Well, you know what? I believe that I will be a customer of Clever Leads very shortly. With everything else I've got going on, I mean, it just makes sense. It's the only thing of its kind out there. Let me ask you a question. I have two things, and then we're going to finish up here. What can I do to help you grow your business? One question I ask everybody on here. Thank you so much for coming on. But what can I do to help you grow your business?
Well, I tell you what, one of those really awesome hats that I keep hearing about, Dave. If I can sport
this,
I heard that everybody that comes on the Dave Finale show gets one of those awesome RE hats. So
that is true. It's RE Skill Builder. It's on there, just like behind me. You can see it, right? So, hey, Jake, thank you so much for coming on. I sincerely appreciate your hats going out this week. That is if you can remember where you live. No, I'm just kidding. Private joke. But look, man, thank you so much for coming on. Please stay on for a sec as we exit. Everybody, thanks so much. Just to let you all know that we've got, where is it? Here it is. Next week, we've got Tom Toole coming on, a great agent, also of the 5 a.m. call, Tom Toole. We'll see him next week. But again, thank you so much, Jake, for coming on.
My pleasure.
We have Bam back on. And then we'll see everybody next week.
Have a blessed day, everybody.